Some people don't realize they've broken their own heart until it's too late to fix it. Tonight, I'll tell you about a man who had everything except time for the woman who gave him his life. David Miller was the kind of man people admired. Big house, luxury car, important job at a finance firm in Chicago. His phone never stopped ringing, and his calendar was booked weeks in advance. But in the quiet corner bedroom of that big house lived someone David had slowly started seeing as a problem: his mother. Margaret Miller was 72. Her hair had turned silver, her hands slightly shaky, her steps slower than they used to be. Since David's father passed away, she had lived with him. At first, it felt like the right thing to do. But over time, the small moment began to irritate him. "David, can you help me with this jar?" "David, I forgot how to use the TV remote again." "David, will you be home for dinner tonight?" Each question felt heavier than the last, not because they were hard, but because David was busy. One evening, after a long meeting, David came home tired and irritated. His mother had accidentally left the stove on earlier. Nothing happened, but the smell still lingered. That was the moment he made the decision. "This can't go on," he muttered. A week later, Margaret was sitting quietly in the passenger seat as David drove her to a care home on the edge of the city. She looked out the window the whole time. "Mom, this place is nice," David said, forcing cheerfulness. "They have nurses, activities, people your age. You'll be happier here." She smiled gently. "If this makes your life easier, son, then I'm happy." Those words should have hurt, but David was already thinking about the meeting he had the next morning. The care home was clean, bright, and organized. David visited once the first week, then once the next month, then only on holidays. Each time he went, his mother greeted him like no time had passed. "I made a friend named Eleanor," she'd say. "They served apple pie today. Your favorite. Are you eating properly, David?" She never complained, never asked to come home, which made it easier for him not to ask either. Meanwhile, David's career soared with promotions, bonuses, and business trips. But something strange began happening. The house felt quieter than it should. No sound of the TV playing too loudly, no smell of soup simmering in the kitchen, no soft knock on his office door asking if he'd eaten. He told himself it was peace, but it didn't feel peaceful. One rainy afternoon, David's phone rang during a meeting. He ignored it. It rang again. Annoyed, he stepped outside to answer. "Mr. Miller," a gentle voice said. "This is Rosewood Care Center. I'm calling about your mother." His stomach tightened. "She's stable," the nurse continued, "but she's been weaker lately. We thought you should come visit soon." "I'm traveling this week," David replied quickly. "Maybe next weekend." There was a pause. "Of course," the nurse said softly, but next weekend became next month, and then another call came. This one didn't say stable. By the time David reached the care home, the room was quiet. Too quiet. His mother looked smaller than he remembered, peaceful and still. On the bedside table was a small box with his name on it. Inside were dozens of old letters, envelopes worn at the edges, some sealed, some opened and folded again and again. David frowned. "I found those in her drawer," the nurse said gently. She read them often. "They're mine?" he asked. The nurse nodded. She said they reminded her of the best days of her life. David sat down slowly and opened the first letter. It was in his own messy childhood handwriting. "Dear Mom, thank you for coming to my school play even though you were sick. I saw you in the crowd and I wasn't scared anymore." His vision blurred. He opened another. "Mom, I know we don't have much money, but I don't need new shoes. I just like when you come watch my games." Another. "I got the job. Mom, I promise I'll buy you a big house one day so you never have to work again." His hands started shaking. Every letter was from him. Every letter was about her, her sacrifices, her love, her presence at every moment that mattered. Tucked at the bottom was one final envelope in his mother's handwriting. He opened it carefully. "My dear David, if you're reading this, it means I didn't get to say goodbye the way I wanted, and that's okay. You were always busy chasing your dreams, and I was always proud of you for that. I want you to know something. My son, you never sent me away. I went because I didn't want to be a burden. Every time you visited, even for a few minutes, it made my whole week brighter. I kept your childhood letters because they reminded me that once upon a time I was your whole world, and being your mother has been the greatest honor of my life. Don't feel guilty. Just remember to slow down sometimes, especially for the people who love you quietly. Love always, Mom. David broke. Not the quiet kind of tears, but the kind that come from years of love you didn't return enough. All the promotions suddenly felt small. All the meetings felt meaningless. All the important things had never visited him in a hospital room, but his mother had visited every school play, every game, every heartbreak, and he had given her scheduled visits. He pressed the letters to his chest and cried like a child again. For the first time in years, he wasn't busy. He was just a son who wanted his mom. He spent the rest of his life trying to become the kind of son his mother always believed he was. Success means nothing if you don't have time for the people who loved you before you were successful. The saddest tears are for words we never said in time we thought we still had. Never forget the people who stood beside you when you had nothing. One day, success won't hug you back, but family would have.